Morning, lads. I think we can make a few policy decisions this morning before I head into the city today. Left the Bitcoin miner on last night, so the lounge room's nice and toasty this morning. Okay, balance of power in Eastern Merkaba. That's right. Speech of the President on the Reforms, Grand National Assembly of Swordland, Whole Sword. Yeah, so this is the constitutional reforms, right? We're going to try and thread the needle through this. Thankfully, we've manoeuvred in such a way we don't really care whether these reforms get accepted or not. It's going to work out in our favour either way. Either we sacrifice a little bit of power and look like the good guys, or we don't sacrifice any power whatsoever and we look like the good guys. Because, we tried. I've manoeuvred in such a way, and this is not all my doing, but this is how it worked out, that the Libs might not support us on the vote, and the Conservatives said they wouldn't vote us if I continued to privatise things, and I continued to privatise things. So, who knows? Maybe we'll try to push through the reforms won't go through, we'll retain all of our executive powers, and we'll get blamed from both the left and right for not being, left or right enough, and then in the people's eyes we'll look like we're trying to moderate something, take that middle path, do the right thing, deliver them the reforms that they demanded, and everyone else is just being obstinate pricks. Oh, nothing quite like a good cup of tea, right? Alright, enough faffing. I came to the Grand National Assembly of Swordland to deliver a speech regarding the new constitution and ask for the support of the Assembly before the upcoming vote. I walked quickly through the corridors, giving my greetings to people on my way towards the parliamentary hall. When I entered the hall, the Assembly was in complete chaos, with shouting and cursing between the parties. There was a heavy argument about a proposal made by an MP from NFP. I took my seat inside the special area reserved for the ministers. Gloria was shouting from her seat at the centre of the hall as she hit the gavel 3 times, with each strike heavier than the one before. Order! Order! Ordnung muss sein. I saw Casaro Kibana standing up from his seat and shouting towards the members of the PFJP. Mr. Kibana! Mr. Kibana! Calm yourself. Show respect to the procedures of this assembly. Despite our efforts, the argument continued for a couple of minutes before everybody took back to their seats and finally went quiet. Well, I'm here now, so sure. Snap to, I would think. Mr. Kibana, next time when I tell you to do so, either take your seat or leave the hall so we can proceed with the procedures of this assembly and continue our duties. Some MPs from the NFP shouted back at her in protest. Damn, this is getting raucous. Honourable ladies and gentlemen, if you allow me to continue, this is going to start looking like the Indonesian bloody parliament if we're not careful. She pointed at me. We have the President here with us today. He has asked to give an important announcement. The assembly fell silent. Now that's power. You have the floor, Mr. President. I walked to the stand as loud clapping started on the USP's side. Alright, we'll have a look. The currently acting, okay, so my party. Good. Ladies and gentlemen, honourable members of the Assembly, brothers and sisters, honourable members of the Grand National Assembly of Swordland, I am here today to raise important questions regarding our outdated constitution. The Supreme Court holds too much power? Nope. Our election threshold has harmed our democracy more than anything? Nope. Our constitution doesn't adequately define or respect the separation of powers. Our elected assembly has always been overshadowed. We're going to go with number 3 because it's vague, right? People can read into that what they want to. We've got to give people the option of allowing us to give them what they imagine they want. Is that the right way to say that? I continued. Therefore, we propose changes to the Constitution to prepare Swordland for a more democratic era. Yes, we must finally rewrite the Constitution of soul and break our chains of the past. Maybe that's a little radical. I call everyone to stand by us to make historic changes to our constitution and bring it to the standards of today's world. I'm not going to be down on our country. Let's go with number 1. Oh, is that a frog? What the hell? Applauses from USP. Yeah, and PFJP seats. We will break the Supreme Court's authority over constitutional changes. We will rebalance the branches of government to ensure a more democratic process. I focused on unity, change, peace. Unity. It is more important than ever that we stand united as a nation in these changing times. I call everybody to be part of the change our people have been calling for. We all want to make Swordland better, don't we? Let's embrace democracy and unite under the banner of our people, and surely Swordland will be great again. Saga. Nice. We will make Swordland great again. I mean, that's just too good to miss. Loud noises from USP and NFP seats. Yeah, very good. Alright, so my party supported me twice, the Libs have supported me once, and the National Front has supported me once. I took a breath and continued. Ladies and gentlemen of the Assembly, we must set aside our differences. It's time to make a new constitution together. I ask everyone to think clearly about our current situation and join us for change. That is right. Be part of a new era for Swordland. Join us and vote on our proposal. Ladies and gentlemen, I demand your votes. I ask everyone to support us in the upcoming vote. Be part of the new era for Swordland. Join us and vote for our proposal. Let's write the future together. Finish with a poem or salute the crowd. I'm a civilian, I don't salute, so poem it's got to be, I suppose. Give them a bit of Tennyson, eh, lads? There is a destiny above destiny. There is a victory growing with every morning. There is my country beyond everything, my beloved. Oh, this is really patchy. I'll do them all, and then we can do the poem at the end. Like a whole thing. There is an evil that tortures and tears you down. There is a spring that blossoms out of the graves of our fallen. Alright. I decided to read a poem before I ended my speech. There is a victory growing with every morning. There is a country beyond everything, my beloved. There is a spring that blossoms out of the graves of our fallen. Fear not when the dark falls, there is an artist painting the sun. Beyond the next morning, there is a victory waiting to be won. Oof. Powerful. Not bad for a politician. The Assembly roared with all kinds of different reactions. Great, that's what I want. Some applauses come from the PFJP and USP seats. Most of the others started to make loud noises again. Thank you for the speech, Mr. President. Well, hopefully Mrs. Thatcher here gives the support. I walked back to my seat as many MPs asked to speak. Franz Richter was among them. He's the PFJP guy. Yes, Mr. Richter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank Mr. President for his speech. We, the People's Freedom and Justice Party, stand in agreement with the need for a more democratic constitution. I would like to thank the ladies and gentlemen of the United Swordland Party for their more open attitude compared to past years. As long as Mr. President's words prove not to be just words, we will be behind this much-needed movement for change. We welcome this attempt. I ask Mr. President to share the final contents of these proposals as soon as possible. Thank you, Mrs. Speaker. Suddenly, Kazaro Kibana started yelling from his seat. The President must have lost his mind to cooperate with the likes of you, Mr. Richter. You and the PFJP are nothing but puppets of Western interests. Order! Mr. Kibana! Mr. Kibana! Madam Speaker, I know you are in agreement with me as well. Don't stand idly there while this administration is making deals with snakes and undermine the integrity of... Order! Mr. Kibana! How many times do I need to say, you are speaking out of... I demand to speak. Gloria gave him a stare. She looked annoyed. Very well, Mr. Cabinet, go ahead. Really? Mr. Speaker. I mean, Mrs. Speaker. Seriously. Mr. President. He looked directly at me. Now this is very unconstitutional. Speakers should direct their speeches that they make to the Speaker of the House, not to each other. The nationalist movement does not agree with your priorities, nor the way you're trying to implement them. The National Front Party will not stand with you on your new constitution. Let it be known that the NFP's concerns are not included in this so-called democratic reforms. Thus, Mr. President has no right to claim them as such. What? Yeah, and this guy obviously didn't major in logic or rhetoric. We will stand our ground against any attempt to bring down our established political culture and national values. Thank you. Come on, I'm not changing the culture or the values at, faster than regular growth rates. Kazara went back to his seat, but the chaos in the assembly continued. Still, he could have been more condemnatory. I think, with the right manoeuvring, we could probably keep the NFP on site. Asked to speak. Sure, I like the sound of my own voice. Yes, Mr. President. I just want to thank everybody for their comments. Alright. MPs kept shouting and responding to each other, creating a loud mess where nothing was legible. Ordnung, Ordnung. This topic is finished. We are moving on to our next topic. I slowly left the hall. The shouting could be heard from every corridor of the Grand National Assembly. Whew. That was a bit of a dynamic one, lads. Read the report from Holsword. Reform status. Lucien Gallardo reported that so far they have been able to get in total 121 signatures behind the proposal. The work is underway to increase the support and reach out to necessary members to reach 150. Interesting. One potential downside of if they don't get enough signatures is that I could look powerless because I didn't manage to get through one of the reforms that I was pushing through. But considering all of the other important stuff that we've done, I think that accusation won't stick except with people who already don't like us. So, pardon me, as the old philosopher said, screw 'em. Rain. Our constitution doesn't adequately define or respect the separation of powers. That is what I said. Alright, what does Geopolitico have to say? Walker warns Valgasland's navy over Helgeland's dispute. Yeah, good thing we kept out of this, eh? The tensions between Agnolia and Valgasland keep climbing. The latest addition to the escalations happened yesterday on the Valgo-Slavian Channel when the Valgaslandian ships started advancing on the perimeter around the island. According to the Agnolian sources yesterday in the morning, the Agnolian battleship Van Gilbin, A387, make a note of that, please, Secretary, had intercepted a Valgaslandian destroyer, Stanison, and warned them to move out of Agnolian waters. The Valgaslandian captain did not respond to the communication, but both ships backed away from the scene after several hours of standstill. Seeing this event as Valgasland putting pressure over the island, Arcasian President Dwight Walker warned the Valgaslandian Navy, saying, "We will not tolerate any attempts to trigger an incident on international waters. I call upon Mr. Hagel, pull back your ships immediately." Things are hotting up, eh? A little surprised Valgasland hasn't decided just to take it. Wonder what they're waiting for. Alright. Nothing else needs done here, right? Oh, here's a briefing. Read the report from Suzerain. Border report. Defence Minister Losif Yankaya reports that the Valen borders have been closed and divisions of the Third Army are ready for the operation. Alright, that's good. Hopefully we will have reconnaissance, intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance in this area. And what's going on with Lesbia? Why are you guys so quiet? If it was up to me, if I got to pick when the diplomatic missions get sent, I would have sent one to these guys. Implement first turn. And there's no other diplomatic communiques. Sweet. Continue. Wait a second. We're up to turn 6 already. We are motoring through these ones, lads. wealth of nations at thy feet. In the bonds and checks we meet, hear our voices, we entreat. Health requires more resources. Yeah, well, we've got to make the resources before we can spend the resources, unless we borrow them, right? The hidden power of men in uniform. I'm going to stop reading this paper. These guys are just going to always be going, blah, 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 the country's not Marxist enough, blah, blah, blah. Alright, diplomatic communicate, that's a high priority. Read the report from Magnolia. Van Houten wins the elections. Good work, lad. Sent him a bouquet. General elections held in Agnolia this week had resulted in the victory of the Neurist Democratic Party of Agnolia. I shouldn't have given him a sword. I should have given him a picture of the Constitution, because he might take that encouragement to fight Valgsland, and then Valgsland could think that we're in league with them or helping them out. I hope I've made it clear to him that if he fights Valgsland, he's on his own. I'm not going to do jack shit to help him. Can't stop the mosquito that decides to bite the foot of an elephant. General elections held in Agnolia this week has resulted in the victory of the Neurist Democratic Union of Agnolia for the second time, with its leader, Martin van Houten, continuing his duties as Prime Minister. Alright. Well, that's fine. And that's it, isn't it? Alright, back to the main task. Read the report from Holsord, privatisation plan proposal. Ministry of Health has finished a privatisation proposal plan in order to increase the resources, blah blah blah. Yep, we did say that. Read this. Ministry of Justice files. The Ministry of Justice has reviewed the Urson v Swordland case, put forward its concurrence opinion. Before sending the dispute to the Supreme Court, Vimus Minister of Justice came forward, agreeing that the case of Isheval Urson, and pointed out that a majority court dissent would do disservice to the legal precedent of future constitutional rights cases. The case is now in the hands of the Supreme Court. Okay. Read the report from Holsord. General Staff gathers. The General Staff has convened at the Ministry of Defence today to assess the security conditions of Swordland. More than 20 high-ranking officers were in attendance and discussed several war plans, the internal stability of the nation and the overall state of the armed forces. Good, they're doing their jobs. That is fine. What's happening here? Requested meeting of Josef Lankier. Opening of the L1 railway. Hell yeah, I'm going to do the meeting. Alright. We arrived in Holsord at the grand opening ceremony of the L1 high-speed rail. It was a proud moment for all of us. You hear that, lads? Let your chests swell. Simon and Gus, who heavily assisted the project, were with me along with Lucian to decide how to proceed tomorrow. Lucian stood up. First of all, congratulations everyone to many more projects like this. Well done everyone, good work. We couldn't have done this without our excellent team. Indeed, let's move on to our plans for the opening tomorrow. It's a long time since the last successful infrastructure project. There's good reason to capitalise on the occasion, and I have a plan on how to do that. If Mr. President accepts, driving the first high-speed train to Lockhaven would be great for our image nationwide. What are your thoughts? Hell yeah, I don't support anything beyond the opening ceremony. Actions speak for themselves anyway. I see your point, but involving the President further could be beneficial for the administration. I think so too, Mr. President. I'm going to miss the opportunity to drive a train. That's awesome. Very well, sounds fantastic. The President arriving to Lockhaven on the driver's seat would make headlines for sure. Additionally, a large crowd is invited for the ceremony and will be watching the opening speech. Just checking the time on. Alright, nothing like a cheerful crowd, looking forward to it. It would be a good opportunity for exposure, like the good old campaign days. I guess we can't help it. On another note, it goes without mentioning that this was a team effort, beginning with the President who put his trust in me. I want to thank all who were involved in L1. Thank you for kind words. Truly means a good deal. We had our disagreements, but the important thing was the outcome. Swordish people got what they needed for a long time. We will show our best face tomorrow. Meanwhile, I'll make sure that our message of improving the countryside will get across. Alright then, we have a lot of work to do tomorrow. See you in the morning. See you at the ceremony. Team left. Next day, a stage had been erected inside the central station along with a new electrified rail line. The sunny weather created a positive mood in the usually grey Holsword. The crowd looked quite large. I spotted many party members among them. We began moving toward the stage as the excitement was growing. Signal Lucian to begin the ceremony. Brothers and sisters of Swordland, I welcome you Holswordians today as a proud servant of this country. Lucian's voice echoed in the central station. Thousands of Swordland and USP flags began to wave as the loud cheers intensified. Without further ado, I invite the President of Swordland to the stage. I moved up to the stage to address the crowd. The press was taking dozens of pictures. Holswordians, I welcome you today to our opening ceremony of the L1 High-Speed Railway. Citizens, welcome to the opening ceremony of the L1 High-Speed Railway. People of Swordland, welcome to the opening ceremony of the L1 High-Speed Railway. Well, I want to meet as many people as possible. Citizens, people of Swordland, Holswordians, citizens. Yeah, no, I'm just going to do that one. The chanting and excitement from the crowd intensified. A large group began to sing the national anthem. I already did that. At the beginning of this journey, we promised jobs and opportunity. We kept our promise. Trust me, our work is far from over. This project is only the beginning of good tidings. Ooh, what are the implications between these? I think I'm going to go with the first one. Our intention was to serve the citizens who are having a hard time travelling between the major cities. No, that's not what we're doing. The aim of the L1 Railway was to improve development in rural areas and cities in between Holsword and Lochhaven to create economic growth in the greater Holsword and Gelsland regions. Bringing thousands of new jobs, many unemployed citizens have benefited. Yep, fantastic. None of this would have been possible without my colleague. With sound advice, the Minister, Gus Manger, please come here. I took time off from my duties to personally manage the project to success. We have to thank the mind behind the railway project for it all, esteemed Minister of Economy and Tax, Simon Hull, please come over here. Thank you, Mr. President. Our aim with this project is obvious, to improve the speed and efficiency of transportation. I'm sure each one of you will be proud of the achievements made during the project once we cut that ribbon and you can get on training yourself. Simon mentioned the beginning of a Swordish economic recovery and the plans to stop the recession altogether. Lucian took Simon's place after he was done with the speech. Citizens of Holsword, there you have it. As promised, Anton Rain, the 4th President of Swordland, has delivered. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We moved towards the line where the first electric train was waiting. A red ribbon was hanging by the door of the train. Simon gave me a large pair of scissors to commence the opening while the crowd was watching. Cut that ribbon. I cut the ribbon, which led to a huge wave of cheering from the crowd. Many flashes went off at the same time. Thank you, thank you. Congratulations to all. It was a solid and fruitful effort, hopefully with much more to come. It is a good moment indeed. We have helped so many of the countryside. The train is prepared and ready. The journey to Lochhaven should take about 4 hours, and the rest of us will be in the carriage with you. Enter the train. I entered the cab and took a seat with the assistant beside me. The crowd was trying to catch a glimpse of me sitting as driver of the train. Who do you want to travel with in the cab, Mr. President? Lucian, Simon, Gus. I want all of them. What are you talking about? Simon is the Minister of Economy. Cool. That isn't necessary, but I won't refuse. We can talk about future economic projects. That was my thinking. Sharp as a tack there, Simon. As we began driving the train out of the central station, the media took photos of me and Simon, who smiled at the cameras. The new train was in pristine condition, and the electric noise made much faster acceleration possible, while providing minimal noise and maximum comfort. Oof, love it. After the relaxing 4-hour drive to Lochhaven, we were welcomed by celebratory citizens at Lochhaven Station. The railway officially opened to the public as soon as we arrived, and thousands began utilising it. Can someone see that little thing pop up at the top there? Anyone want to remind me what it says? Today was a great victory for the administration. Hell yeah. What does the news say? We open the train. Underhaul construction once again proved their worth with the opening of the L1 railway. This government contract mega project aims to bring the much needed logistics improvement between the two highest output cities in Swordland, Lakehaven and Holsword. On the opening day, President Rain personally drove a train for the first time ever, a speech highlighting the opportunities this new logistics overhaul will bring. That is exactly right, and I'm going to wrap it up there. Not that one. This guy. Save and exit to main menu. That's the file. Alright. I'll see you next time, lads. I was moving the wrong cursor because there's two on the screen at the moment.